There was a man who climbed into a cave carved into the side of a Himalayan cliff. No food, no fire, no distraction, just him, the mountain, and the silence. For 33 days he sat in that cave. He didn't speak. He didn't move. He didn't eat. He wasn't trying to prove anything. He was trying to remember something. Something we've all forgotten, but we feel it. That haunting feeling that there's more to this life than what we see. That something is pulling us, whispering to us in our dreams, disturbing our comfort. That something is your awakening. And it's not gentle. It's not peaceful. It's not what you think. It will cost you everything. And it will give you everything. You are not watching this by accident. You are watching this because you are one of the chosen ones. And your awakening is not only inevitable, it's already begun. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to challenge you, to shake you. Because what you're about to hear will either wake you up or push you deeper into sleep. There is no middle ground, because the truth is, spiritual awakening doesn't add to your life. It dismantles it. It doesn't give you clarity. It strips away illusion. It doesn't make you more you. It burns through the false self until only presence remains. And if you're still clinging to who you think you are, this journey will feel like death. But if you're ready to let go, ready to trust the fire, this journey will make you unstoppable. So let's stop pretending. Stop pretending that awakening is about good vibes and peace and Instagrammable sunsets. Stop pretending that you can remain the same and somehow discover the infinite. Awakening is not about comfort. It's about confrontation. The universe will confront every lie you've ever believed about who you are, what you're worth, what's possible. It will confront your fears, your wounds, your masks, your attachments. It will place you in situations that make no sense. It will dismantle your plans, break your identity, strip away your illusions. And if you resist it, you will suffer. But if you surrender to it, something miraculous happens. You begin to see, not with your eyes, with your soul.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
Ask yourself, what if the breakdowns in your life were not mistakes, but initiations? What if the people who left you, the jobs you lost, the chaos you feared, what if they were all part of the design to awaken you? What if every painful moment was a divine whisper saying, "Wake up. You are not who you think you are. You are not this fear. You are not this story. You are not this past." And what if the very life you've built, the one you thought would make you happy, is the very thing keeping you from truth? See, we've been programmed since birth. Programmed to follow, programmed to obey, programmed to believe that life is about security, success, validation, reputation. But those who are truly chosen, those who are called to awaken, cannot follow the rules of the asleep. We don't fit in, we don't belong, and that's not a curse. That's the beginning of freedom. Because when you stop trying to belong to a world that is asleep, you start remembering the world that is real. But here's the warning. Awakening will destroy your life as you know it. It will take your relationships and shake them until only truth remains. It will take your career and expose every place you've been compromising your soul. It will take your beliefs and shatter them like glass. And in that shattering, you will either cling to the pieces out of fear, or you will rise from the ashes like something reborn. I remember the moment it started for me. I thought I was losing my mind. Everything I once wanted began to feel hollow. The goals I used to chase felt like illusions. The people around me couldn't understand. I started waking up in the middle of the night with a strange knowing, like something ancient was trying to speak through me. My body felt different. My emotions became intense. I couldn't fake it anymore. I couldn't go back. And maybe you're there right now. Maybe you're realizing that the things you thought would fulfill you, status, money, approval, they don't touch the deeper hunger within you. Maybe you're beginning to see the cracks in the matrix. Maybe you're noticing that the world you were taught to trust is built on fear and control and distraction. Maybe you're starting to feel things more deeply, crying for no reason, feeling other people's pain, seeing through the lies. If so, don't run from it. Don't numb it. Don't label it depression. It's not depression. It's a spiritual emergence. You are not breaking down. You are breaking through. But here's the paradox. Awakening will isolate you before it connects you. You will feel alone, misunderstood, disconnected. You will try to explain it to others, and they won't get it. You'll try to hold on to old relationships, and they'll fall apart. You'll try to fit into old spaces, and you'll feel like a ghost. And in that loneliness, you'll be tempted to go back to sleep, to numb, to distract, but don't. Sit in the fire. Trust the silence. Because in the silence, you will hear something that cannot be heard in noise. You will hear the voice of your soul. That voice doesn't scream. It doesn't beg. It doesn't argue. It whispers. And most people miss it because they are too busy trying to control their lives. But if you can slow down, if you can stop needing to understand everything, you will begin to feel it. That gentle, powerful current pulling you towards something you can't explain. That's the call. That's the awakening. And it requires everything, every belief, every attachment, every mask, every identity. It requires you to let go of control and step into the unknown. And that's where fear screams the loudest. Fear will tell you you're crazy. Fear will tell you you're losing everything. Fear will tell you you're alone. But fear is the final guardian of the gate. It shows up just before the breakthrough. It's not there to stop you, it's there to test you. To ask, are you ready to die to who you were so you can become who you are? Most people turn around at the gate. They hear the call, but they don't answer. Wherefore, they feel the fire, but they run from it. They start the journey, but they cling to comfort. But you're different. You wouldn't still be watching if you weren't. You are not here to fit in. You are here to remember. You are here to awaken. You are here to burn. And once you burn, you can never go back. You start seeing through everything. You see how people wear masks to survive. You see how society keeps people distracted and divided. You see how the systems are designed to keep you asleep. And it hurts. It hurts because you care. It hurts because you know it doesn't have to be this way. It hurts because you want to help. But before you can help others awaken, you must go all the way yourself. Not halfway, not almost, all the way. That means confronting your shadows. That means healing your wounds. That means facing your deepest fears. That means letting go of everything you thought made you valuable. Because your value is not in what you do. It's not in what you own. It's not in how many people like you. Your value is in your presence, in your being, in your truth. And when you become aligned with that truth, your entire life changes, not because you chase change, but because you became someone who could no longer live in illusion. But let me be clear, this path isn't easy. It's not glamorous. It doesn't always feel good. It's raw. It's intense. It will test you. It will strip you. It will demand everything. But in return, it will give you something priceless. It will give you yourself. The real you. The ancient you. The you that is not afraid. The you that cannot be manipulated. The you that remembers why you came here. So let me ask you a question, a real one you can't answer with your mind, one you have to feel with your soul. Who would you be if you stopped pretending? If you stopped performing? If you stopped hiding behind fear or logic or expectation? What would remain if you let everything false fall away? That's the path. That's the initiation. And it starts right now, not tomorrow. Not when you're ready. Not when it's convenient. Now, because you are already being called. And the call doesn't ask you to be perfect. It asks you to be real. It asks for your surrender. It asks for your courage. And most of all, it asks for your trust. Trust that even in the chaos, there is order. Trust that even in the darkness, there is light. Trust that even in the loss, there is rebirth. Trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it needs to, not for your comfort, but for your awakening. So here we are, standing on the edge of everything you've ever known. You've heard the call. You felt the tremors beneath the surface of your life. You've watched the world you once trusted start to unravel. The question is no longer, is this real? The question is, am I willing to go deeper? Because once you begin to wake up, life does not allow you to go back to sleep. The illusions may still be there, but they no longer satisfy. The distractions may still be available, but they no longer numb you. Something inside you has shifted. You've tasted truth. And once you taste truth, everything else becomes bitter. This is not a phase. It's not a trend. It's not something you try. This is the collapse of the false self. And that collapse is sacred. Painful, yes. Confusing, absolutely, but sacred. Because every breakdown is a breakthrough waiting to be seen. Every loss is a recalibration of your soul. Every moment of darkness is a conversation with your highest self saying, you are more than this. Wake up. And let's be honest, awakening doesn't always look like peace and bliss. Sometimes it looks like losing friends. Sometimes it looks like standing in your room at 3 a.m. with tears running down your face and no one to call. Sometimes it looks like questioning everything you were raised to believe, everything you've worked for, everything you thought mattered. Sometimes it looks like being surrounded by people and still feeling completely alone. But that loneliness is not a punishment. It's an invitation. An invitation to face the truth that you've been avoiding your entire life. You are not what you've been taught to be. You are not this name, this role, this mask. You are consciousness having a human experience. And awakening is the moment you actually start to live like that's true. But that truth will cost you. It will cost you the illusion of control. It will cost you the comfort of certainty. It will cost you the safety of conformity. And most of all, it will cost you the version of yourself that was never real, but the version that was built to survive, not to thrive. The version that learned to shrink, to please, to obey, to hide. And that version has to die. And when it does, you will grieve. You'll grieve the identity you worked so hard to build. You'll grieve the life you thought you wanted. You'll grieve the people who no longer resonate with who you are becoming. But grief is not the end of the journey. It's the beginning, because you are not your pain, you are not your fear, you are not your losses. You are what remains when all of that is stripped away. And what remains is powerful. What remains is unshakable. What remains is the real you, the you that is not afraid to be alone, not afraid to be misunderstood, not afraid to stand in truth, even if it means standing alone. That version of you is already here. It's not something you become, it's something you remember. But to remember, you must forget. You must forget the lies. You must forget the programming. You must forget the voice in your head that says, you're not enough. You're too much. You're too late. That voice is not your guide. It's your jailer. And the key to freedom is not outside of you. It's not in a book, a guru, a retreat. It's already within you, but you must be willing to go in, all the way in, into the silence, into the shadows, into the parts of yourself you've been avoiding, because that is where your power is hiding. You don't awaken by bypassing the pain, but you awaken by dissolving in it, by letting it teach you, by letting it break you so open that only light remains. That's the paradox. You don't become whole by becoming more. You become whole by becoming less attached, less defined, less controlled, less afraid. And in that emptiness you find everything. But let's go deeper, because awakening doesn't stop with inner clarity. It begins to change everything: your relationships, your career, your desires, your very sense of reality. You start to see through the games. You start to feel the manipulation in media, in society, in systems. You start to question the roles people play, the masks they wear, the scripts they recite. And you stop playing along, not because you're better, but because you've seen too much to pretend anymore. And that's when the real initiation begins. When you stop playing the game turns on you. People start to pull away. They say you've changed. They say you're too intense, too deep, too different. And they're right. You have changed. You are intense. You are different. Because you're no longer pretending. You're no longer tolerating what drains your soul. You're no longer dimming your light to make others comfortable. And that makes people uncomfortable. Because when you stop shrinking, you reflect back to them all the ways they are still hiding. And not everyone's ready to face that. But that's not your burden. You are not here to be liked. You are not here to fit in. You are here to awaken, to embody truth, to become a living, breathing mirror of what's possible when someone chooses to live without fear. And that choice is radical. It's revolutionary. It's contagious. Because when people witness someone awaken, something inside them stirs. They may not understand it. They may resist it, but they feel it. And that feeling is the beginning of their own awakening. So don't hide your light. Don't water yourself down. Don't apologize for your truth. You didn't come here to be quiet. You didn't come here to be normal. You came here to disrupt, to remember, to love. But not the kind of love that's passive and polite. The kind of love that roars. The kind of love that shatters illusions. The kind of love that says, I will not betray myself to make you comfortable. And that kind of love requires boundaries. It requires discernment. It requires solitude, because not everyone can walk with you. Not everyone can see what you see. And that's okay. Let them go. Let them find their own path. Your job is not to wake people up. Your job is to stay awake, to stay devoted to what's real, to keep listening to the whispers of your soul, even when the world screams at you to conform. And here's the truth: the more you awaken, the less you need. The less you chase, the less you fear. You stop looking for approval. You stop needing to be right. You stop reacting to every trigger. Then you become still. But not because nothing moves you, but because you are rooted in something deeper than emotion. You are rooted in presence, and from that presence, everything changes. You start to attract people who speak your soul's language. You start to align with opportunities that reflect your truth. You start to co-create with the universe in a way that feels effortless, because you're no longer resisting your destiny. But your destiny doesn't look like what you were taught to want. It doesn't look like fame or fortune or perfection. It looks like peace. It looks like alignment. It looks like waking up every day knowing you are on purpose, even if no one else sees it, but even if it doesn't make sense. Because the awakened life is not always visible on the surface. It's not always loud. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's simple. But it's always real. And that's what you're here for. Realness and wholeness. Truth. You may still feel fear. You may still feel doubt. But you are no longer ruled by them. You walk with them. You learn from them. But you don't bow to them. Because something greater is moving through you now. Something ancient. Something timeless. And it doesn't care about your reputation. It cares about your liberation. So let me ask you again, what are you still clinging to that you know is no longer aligned? What are you afraid to let go of because it gives you a false sense of safety? Who are you pretending to be to avoid being alone? And what would happen if you stopped pretending? Don't answer too quickly. Feel it. Let it move through you. Let the truth rise, not from your mind, but from your being. Because the next phase of your awakening is not about learning more. It's about unlearning. It's about remembering what you already know and having the courage to live it. You are not here to survive. You are here to awaken. And the world doesn't need more conformity. It needs more courage. It needs more souls on fire. It needs more people who are willing to walk away from the lie in order to live the truth. That's you. That's why you're here. That's why you've always felt different. Because you are, and your difference is your power. Look around you. Everything is shifting. The systems that once seemed unshakable are cracking. The roles you once played no longer fit. The people you once resonated with feel distant. The ambitions you once chased feel hollow. You're not losing your way, you're losing what's not aligned with your way. That's the cost of awakening. It doesn't just ask you to change your mind. It asks you to change your life. It asks you to stop negotiating with your soul, to stop shrinking to fit into places that cannot hold your truth, to stop pretending that you're okay with living half a life when you know you were born to live fully awake. But awakening is not a straight line. It's not a clean process. It will unravel you before it rebuilds you. It will bring you to your knees before it lifts you to the sky. It will test your faith, your devotion, your willingness to trust what you cannot see. You will be stripped of every certainty you once clung to. You will doubt yourself. You will question everything. And that questioning is sacred, because doubt is not the end of truth, it's the beginning. But when you stop taking things at face value, when you stop blindly following the narratives you've been fed, you begin to see. And when you begin to see, you begin to remember. Remember that you are not here to be who they told you to be. You're not here to chase what they told you to chase. You're not here to fit into a mold designed to keep you asleep. You are here to break the mold, to bend reality with your consciousness, to embody a frequency that transforms every room you walk into, to live as a living, breathing reminder that something greater exists, something beyond fear, beyond control, beyond the illusion of separation. But in order to embody that, you must let go of the false self, the self that's addicted to approval, or the self that's afraid to disappoint, with the self that's more loyal to fitting in than to being free. That self cannot come with you into the next phase of your life. That self is the cocoon, and the cocoon must break if the butterfly is to fly. So let it break. Let your old life fall apart. Let the friendships that no longer resonate fade away. Let the dreams that were built from fear dissolve. Let the masks you wore for survival crumble. Because what's waiting on the other side of that destruction is not emptiness, it's wholeness. Not the kind of wholeness that comes from having everything figured out, but the kind that comes from finally being at peace with not needing to. You don't have to know where you're going. You just have to know what you're no longer willing to carry. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to be honest about the questions that are burning inside of you. The questions that won't go away, no matter how much you try to silence them. Why am I really here? What am I really capable of? Who am I when no one is watching? These questions are not distractions. They are invitations. They are the voice of your soul calling you home. And home is not a place. It's not a destination. It's a dimension of being. It's the space within you that cannot be touched by the noise of the world. It's the awareness that watches the rise and fall of all things with unwavering presence. That is who you are. You are not the storm. You are the sky that holds it. You are not the waves. You are the ocean beneath them. You are not your emotions. You are the vastness that feels them all without being defined by any of them. But most people don't want to live from that place. Most people want comfort. They want predictability. They want to feel good without being real. But you, if you're still here, you want truth. You want freedom. You want depth. And those things are not given. They are earned, not by effort, but by surrender, by the willingness to lose everything that's false in order to gain everything that's real. And what's real is this: you are powerful. Not in the way the world defines power, but in the way that only the soul understands. You have the power to heal, to create, to dissolve timelines, to shift realities, but to awaken others simply by being fully awake yourself. You have the power to break ancestral curses, to end cycles that have lived in your bloodline for generations, to live a life your past self could not even imagine. But only if you're willing to stop playing small. Only if you're willing to stop waiting for permission. Only if you're willing to walk alone, at least for a while. Because the path of awakening is narrow at first. It will feel lonely. It will feel thankless. You will question whether it's worth it. But eventually you will find others who speak your language, others who have walked through their own fire, Others who don't just understand you, they remember you. And together, you will move differently. You will love differently. You will build a new world, not by force, but by frequency. Because the new earth is not something we wait for, but it's something we become. Every time you speak your truth instead of staying silent. Every time you choose love over fear. Every time you honor your intuition instead of following the crowd. You are building it. You are anchoring it. You are making the invisible visible. And that is your mission. That is why you were chosen. But being chosen doesn't mean you're special. It means you're responsible. Responsible for your frequency. Responsible for your healing. Responsible for your liberation. Because every time you free yourself, you free others. Every time you remember who you are, you remind others who they are. Every time you step out of fear, you create space for others to do the same. And that's the real revolution, not in fighting the old, but in embodying the new, not in debating truth, but in becoming it. Not in convincing others to wake up, but in living so awake that your presence becomes a transmission. That's the kind of power you hold. That's the kind of impact you were born to make. But you'll only make it if you stop hiding, stop doubting, stop waiting. This is your time. Not next year. Not when it's convenient. Not when you feel ready. Now. Because your soul is ready now. Your soul has been waiting lifetimes for this moment. And the world is not going to give you a sign that says, now is your time. The world will give you signs that say, stay in line, stay asleep, stay afraid. But your soul will give you a different sign. You're a burning, a knowing, a restlessness that refuses to be silenced. So listen to that, trust that, follow that, even when it makes no sense. Even when you're scared, even when no one else understands, especially then, because that's the path, not the easy path, but the path of truth, the path that takes everything from you and gives you everything in return, the path that ends not in answers, but in presence, the path that leads you not to a destination, but to yourself. And when you arrive, when you finally arrive, you won't find perfection. You won't find certainty, but you will find peace. Not the peace of everything going your way. The peace of knowing you no longer need it to. The peace that comes from within. The peace that cannot be taken or shaken. The peace of alignment, of authenticity, purpose of home. So I'll leave you with one final question, one that only you can answer, one that doesn't need words, but will echo through your life in every choice you make from this moment forward. What would your life look like if you stopped waiting to be ready and started living as if you already are? Because you are. You have everything you need. You always have. Now go remember, go awaken, go become. The world is waiting for you to rise, and you were born for this.